chess was tough for me. I could not make any progress at all until this one simple strategy has changed everything. I finally got clarity on how to think in chess and how to win without this endless memorization. In this video, I'm gonna share with you the complete strategy so that chess finally becomes simple. In order to actually get better at chess, you have to challenge yourself. I went all the way down to Gran Canaria to take part in this fascinating chess tournament. I enjoyed it so much, but it was really tough for me. I had some incredible wins, but also some miserable losses, and I want to share it with you so that you can learn so much out of it. Most of the players under 2000 ELO are making this huge mistake that stops them from winning at chess. They think that the opening is the part of the game where you need to go all in and try to destroy your opponent from the very first moves. But really strong chess players understand this is not the point. The opening is the stage of the game where you need just to prepare for the battle. To do that, you want to start fighting for the center, you want to bring every single piece that you have into the game, and you want to do it as fast as possible. And finally, you want to bring your king into the safety. Once you do all of that, you're ready for the second step of our strategy to destroy your opponent. First, please don't go crazy. Just be reasonable and spend just one move on every single piece that you develop. One piece, one move, the golden principle. In the first round of this incredible tournament, I played against Roselo Padron Carlos, and he is 1776. So I'm gonna share with you how exactly you try to take down such an opponent. So first I castled, and we got here a very symmetrical position. Nothing special so far, and this is the point. Stronger chess player outplays his opponent in the middle game, sometimes even in the end game, because that's where really the difference between the chess players results. So I played here the move c3. This is stopping my opponent's ideas. The number one strategy in chess you might have is to always and always think about your opponent, what kind of ideas he or she has, and how you can stop that. In the best case scenario, you always combine that with implementing your own plan. If you can successfully do that, you're going to be so much better in chess. And here is exactly how you perform it. c5 is the idea that black typically wants to make here possible, but by playing c3, I stop it. You can play c5, but then I'm gonna take, and this is really difficult to get the pawn back. My opponent plays knight to d7. So the second step of our system, remember the first one is to prepare yourself for the battle. The second one is to apply as much pressure on your opponent as possible. By the way, if you are serious about improving your chess, I have a completely free 30-day training plan ready for you with educational videos, with exercises to solve. This is gonna change your chess forever. Take advantage of that. The link would be in the description. It already helped hundreds of people to improve their chess. Now it's your turn. I'm playing here bishop f4, just continuing my plan of developing my pieces, finding the most active squares for it, and at the same time stopping my opponent's ideas. c6, knight, b to d2. So it's still pretty symmetrical, but you see the first difference here. My bishop on f4 is better than my opponent's bishop on c8. Chess is all about creating this difference between your pieces and your opponent's pieces. And of course, you want yours to be more active. Your opponent, if he's smart, is trying to create a problem for you because he also wants to win. So black actually played very well this first part of the game, which happens so often. And you still need to know how do you actually outplay the opponent. He plays knight to h5. He attacks this bishop on f4. I play bishop to e3 back. I don't want to lose my bishop's pair. And he goes e5. This is very cool. You want to fight for the center. This is what he does. I take it. He takes it back. I play knight takes e5. And finally, bishop takes e5. Now, this is where it starts. In order to outplay your opponent, you have to create some imbalance in the position. And you want to create problems for your opponent. Your main goal in chess is to make your opponent's life as miserable as possible. So here is how I do it. I want to fight for the center. this is crucial. Who controls the center has the biggest chance to win the game. But currently I cannot do that because my bishop stands on the way. So I'm thinking, how can I combine all of the ideas? How can I combine my strengths in the position here, better piece development and an opportunity to fight for the center, and my opponent's weaknesses? I'm thinking, well, my e-pawn would be great to push forward and play e4. At the same time, my opponent is still not in time to finish his development completely. This knight on h5 is weird. The queen side is very passive. So this is my chance right now. It's important to use your momentum in chess. I play bishop to c5 with the tempo, attacking this rook, and at the same time opening up my pawn. I call it a multi-purpose move, and I want you to make as many of such moves as possible. Because after rook to e8, I immediately play e4. The best strategy in chess is to create a threat with every single move that you make against your opponent. Why it's so powerful? Why all of the strong grandmasters that you know are using this strategy? Well, because it's hard for your opponent to deal with it. How do you handle this problem with the d5 pawn? If you just allow me to take it, I'm gonna create an isolated pawn and I'm gonna attack it afterwards. Well, my opponent tried his best. He played here the move b6. Now, I don't want to get back to e3 because again, that allows an easy way out for my opponent. He's gonna play d4, attack my bishop, force me to exchange those pawns, and then again we are gonna get a simple position. You don't want that for your opponent. Instead, I played bishop to a3, and now asking my question, how are you gonna handle this problem? How are you gonna solve this whole situation? The more difficult questions you ask your opponent, the more difficult it is for him to solve it, and the higher chances you have to win the game. So there is the move bishop e6 to defend it. There is the move e takes d to take. But again, every time I thought I'm a little bit better because I have this activity. My bishops are more active. My knight is jumping to the center and is better than this knight to h5. My opponent played d4. He wanted to solve the problem like that, and now this bishop is still close, and it feels like everything is fine. But that was exactly my trap. d4 is a mistake because it allows a beautiful opportunity for white. Feel free to pause the video right now for a second and find the right move for white. It's going to be so instructive for you. Alright, I hope you have taken your time, and thank God I have found this correct move here, knight to c4. Very active, and the idea behind that, again, it's a multi-purpose move. I attack this bishop, I want to basically take it and then win the d4 pawn, but if you take my pawn on c3, then I win the bishop on e5 anyway, because I exchanged the queens, you must take it back, and then there is nobody to guard the bishop on e5. But even that is not it. I have prepared a very long variation. I have calculated it, so I used my momentum. This is the step number 3 of our strategy. In the first step, we have prepared our pieces for the battle. In the second step, we have created as many problems for our opponent as possible. In the third one, finally, once the opponent is making the mistake, we have to use it. In order to use it, we are thinking about the most active opportunities that we have in our disposal. That would be checks, captures, and threats. In this position, I didn't have any checks. I could only capture the d4 pawn, but I don't want to do that because it makes my opponent's life easier. Instead, I want to apply even more pressure on him. So the third step, threats. How do you create a threat? Well, to simplify it for you, it's basically to attack one of your opponent's pieces or to create a very, very dangerous move, next move. Like you play this because you want next move to do something really unpleasant for your opponent, like this knight takes e5 and c takes d plan. But my opponent played bishop a6 very fast and very confidently. He was happy about that, and thank God I have prepared for it. By the way, this is the golden tip for you, something that differentiates the strongest chess players. Never, ever make a move in chess without thinking what your opponent can do in response. Because even if it seems like your move is great, but your opponent plays bishop a6 and you haven't thought about that, well, you're stuck. Chances are you're going to miss something very important and lose your game very fast. How do you check the opportunities for your opponent? You start with the same system. Checks, captures, and threats. After the move knight c4, there was no checks for my king. The only capture is d takes c, but I don't care about that because I win the bishop. And this is the threat. How do you identify the threats? Well, you take a look at the pieces and pawns at your camp that are unprotected, that are vulnerable. In general, the more unprotected pieces you have, the higher the chances that you're gonna blunder something. So please do it responsibly and reasonably. You might be wondering, what is this magic board I use in my videos? It's called Chess Not Evo. And I enjoy it so much, I have it for a year now. It completely transformed the way I play chess and I train chess, because I can play both on Chess and chess.com online, but on a real board. It's a completely different experience and I enjoy it a lot. I haven't had any major issues, and that's my favorite product from Chessnut because I have everything in one place. I have my books here, I have my studies here, I have my games, but they have so many different products according to your needs and your budget. The best part is, of course, you can use the link in the description as well as the promo code journeytograndmaster to get a big discount on all Chessnut products. Now, back to video. This knight c4 move was very important because I have created a threat, and this is exactly what I'm doing. I'm not defending, I'm not reacting to what my opponent is doing. Instead, I go forward and I attack. I'm playing as white. I want to be as aggressive as possible and create as many threats as possible for my opponent. Here is what I have calculated and what happened in the game. He takes my rook on f1. Seems to be very dangerous, but again, first, I don't react to it. It's not like he takes, I take it back. It's not checkers. I first think about the most active opportunities for myself. This is essential on the third step of our system. We take it on c6 instead because that creates a dangerous counter threat for my opponent. Instead of reacting, I attack his own queen and he doesn't have any time to do something about this bishop. His queen is under attack. He plays queen to c7, attacking my knight, and only now I take this guy on f1. The reason is, after he takes my knight, I have this beautiful move e5, opening up my bishop and speaking the exchange back, leaving myself in a completely winning position. But that's not it. A lot of players fail at this point because you still have to convert your advantage into a full point. The most difficult thing in chess is to win a winning position. How exactly do you do that? Well, my opponent plays queen to d7. Now I take this rook on a8. He takes it back. And it might seem again obvious to take this pawn on d4. Yet, before doing the obvious thing, you first of all try to understand what should be the right thing for you to do. And in chess, it's all about the pieces activity. It's the number one factor that defines the destiny of your game, whether you're going to win or not. You want every single one of your pieces to be as active as possible. From that perspective, if you focus on that, what should be the right move here? Well, it's clear it's not c takes d, but it's rook to d1. That was the only piece that was doing absolutely nothing. If you don't know what to do in your chess game, here is a very practical tip. Ask yourself, what is my worst placed piece? You identify the piece and then you're thinking, okay, how can I improve it? My rook on a1 was doing absolutely nothing. Where is the best place for it to go? The rooks love the open files. And what is even better is always to place your rook against your opponent's queen. That is super dangerous for him. So he played queen to e6, but now I can safely take this pawn in a situation where he cannot take it back. He plays rook to d8, improving his last piece. Again, the same question, how do I take advantage of my material advantage here, 2 extra pawns? I don't go forward immediately. First, I optimize all of my pieces. What is my worst placed piece? Well, this queen on f1, it's doing absolutely nothing. So I wanted to centralize. It's that easy. Yes, you need still to think about the best ways. You need still to take into account your opponent's ideas. For example, I played here queen to d3. There was some ideas like knight to f4, sacrificing the knight for my opponent, then queen g4 check. So I needed to take into account before I played the move queen d3. But again, you think in terms of checks, captures, and threats, both for yourself and for your opponent, and it stops 99% of the blunders you can make, as well as it helps you to identify 99% of the opportunities, really nice moves that you have. And then if you have a few choices, To understand what is the best one, you calculate each of them separately and then compare the resulting positions. I stopped all of the active moves from my opponent, so he played here knight to g7. He wanted to remaneuver his knight to a better position. Well, I play queen to e4, finishing this task of centralizing my queen. Now it's in a perfect position and I'm ready even to play d5 and take advantage of my extra pawns here. If you have a passer and you have a way to move it forward, that is the best thing you can do. Even if you don't promote the queen immediately, you still restrict your opponent's pieces so much. This is super helpful. My opponent plays f6 because he tries to create some difficulties for me, again, creating some threats. Doesn't matter if you're winning or you're losing, the best strategy is to create as much headache for your opponent as possible. It also is really, really fun because then your opponent doesn't have any time to create problems for yourself, right? He's busy with dealing with those problems you have created for him. I'm playing here rook to e1. I'm very careful with my opponent's counterplay because I know, and actually that was a huge problem in this specific tournament, that you have to be extremely careful with your opponent's ideas and counterplay. At least 40% of your time in chess, you have to think not about yourself, but about your opponent's ideas and threats. Just trust me, it's going to improve your chess so much. My opponent plays knight to f5, again creating a threat of attacking the d4 pawn. And what is the simplest approach when you are a lot of material up to win the game? Of course, to exchange the pieces, and especially to exchange your queens, because it limits your opponent's attacking potential so much. That is what I'm doing. I'm taking here on f6, offering my opponent to exchange the queens. He understands that he's pretty strong, so he takes on f6 instead. Now again, I think what is the threat for me? My d4 pawn is hanging here 3 times. How can I deal with it in the most active way? Very, very important here. Not defending, not being passive, but dealing with the opponent's problem and at the same time doing something useful for myself going forward. And that is what I'm doing with the move d5. He's playing knight d4. Again, the first question you ask yourself whenever your opponent makes a move, you forget about all of your plans, all of the ideas you had beforehand, just for a second. Ask yourself, what is the point of this move? This one tip alone would bring you so many elo points. Just do it every single time. And start with checks and captures. Checks and captures. Because knight d4 is threatening this knight f3 move, very annoying fork that we want to deal with. Yes, I have those fancy moves like bishop e7, creating those super dangerous counter threats, but I thought, okay, it has to be simple now. I'm having a huge advantage, so if I can just stabilize the situation, if I can deal with my opponent's threats, then he has nothing, and I'm gonna just destroy him immediately. So again, I'm very active. I'm playing king to g2 because I cover this f3 square, so he cannot go there, and now the knight has 0 ways to give any checks for me. So I'm ready to destroy him. He plays rook to c8, which is reasonable in terms of like adding another attacker to the game. If I allow that, he's going to be very active, creating new problems for me. But I'm the first one. I want to create my threats. In the end of the day, I'm 2 pawns up. I don't want to be defending here. I want to go forward and destroy my opponent. And so I'm thinking, do I have any checks? Well, not really. Doesn't seem to be possible. Can I capture something? No, also not possible. Can I create threats? And I always start creating threats with the biggest targets. In this case, the queen, the biggest piece my opponent has. And again, I always combine multiple useful things in one move. Bishop e7 is making my bishop so much better and my opponent's queen so much worse. Because the queen is actually busy defending this knight and attacking this key pawn on f2. And now guess what? It cannot do this, both of the things at the same time. Either you have to go back along the f-file, but then your knight is going to be lost, or like my opponent played here, you go to g7, but then you're no longer attacking this f2 pawn, which is also very, very important. Now rook c2 is not dangerous anymore, and I'm just playing d6. Again, take advantage of the passer that I have. Yes, d7 is a huge threat. I'm about to promote a pawn, but also it stops my opponent from doing anything active. It also opens up my queen so that in the case of rook to c2, I have queen to d5 check, queen to a8 check, with the checkmate coming. As many useful things in one move as possible. I hope this was useful for you. And if you're ready to finally take your chess to the next level, in this video, I show you how you do exactly that in the next 30 days with a completely free 30-day training plan that I provide you with.